Last month, I had the chance to go to a couple of events with my partner's extended family. One was a pool party at a family friend's house. Now, this annual party had been on hold for a few years since COVID. The other one was a big family wedding. At both of these events, a near constant refrain was how much taller Ethan and Brennan had gotten. Those are my partner's nephews, who are 16 and 18 years old. Their dad is a notably tall African-American man who married into a rather petite Chinese-American family. So by comparison, these two bean-sprout teenage boys seemed a bit like giants. And most of these people had not seen them in years. They probably had grown 6 inches since the last time they had been in the same room. The endless commenting on height reminded me of how dramatic change seems when we don't see it on a daily basis. Up close, though, it's a lot more difficult to see change, especially when it's occurring within ourselves. Every once in a while, perhaps it's worth taking stock of our own growth. Maybe not our physical growth, but our mental, spiritual, emotional growth. You might even call it our hard-earned maturity. We are, each one of us, a work in progress. And I have no doubt that we are collectively wiser than we were 20 years ago or 10 years ago. We may not always feel it, but it's likely that we're even wiser and emotionally stronger than we were just 1 year ago. I don't know what you were doing 20 years ago. I was having a really good time in graduate school. Living in Denver was a blast, and I was thriving in the academic environment. I felt like I had a lot to offer, and I'm sure I did. And yet, the learnings I have picked up since then, the experience, plenty of it unpleasant, and a lot of it wonderful. So many layers have been added since then, so many new ways of looking at things. This adding of layers has been a slow process. I don't know what your past 20 years have looked like, but I imagine a few more layers and greater perspective has been added for you too. It wouldn't be right to say that progress is steady or linear. We observe that in physical growth, even aging. One of my dear friends professes his theory that graying and balding happens in a series of spurts and plateaus. I don't know if you agree or not. So in life, there are some times that are really fruitful, other times that are slow. Even times when we feel like we're going backwards in that realm of well-being. But over the long haul, beautiful progress is happening. As Susan mentioned before in the opening, our theme at Tapestry this month is beauty. To that end, today we remember that most of what is beautiful takes quite a bit of work and progress. We and everyone we know is a work in progress. And sometimes, when we're lucky, we can find beauty in the progress itself, rather than in some illusion of perfection. Now, I had a whole centerpiece of this sermon that I've decided not to bore you with because we're running short on time. But for those theology geeks among you, process theology is what I was going to talk about. It might resonate with you. It's a whole line of folks who see the sacred as the unfolding of time. In each moment, good opportunities are made available. They see the sacred as the thing that makes that goodness available in individual opportunities as time goes along. It's not a God that set everything up as a clockmaker in the beginning, or a God that makes certain that specific things happen. It's a God that lifts up possibility in every moment, that is always there. And it's our daunting responsibility to respond to those possibilities as we're able to in every moment. If that resonates with you, look up process theology, or maybe we'll talk about it more sometime. Thinking more this week about the beauty of becoming, I came to a deeper appreciation of that beloved fable of the tortoise and the hare. In the very off chance that anyone is not familiar with the story, in fact, I was reminded of some of the details that I had forgotten. It is said that one day a hare ridiculed a slow-moving tortoise, insulting him relentlessly. Tired of the hare's arrogance, the tortoise challenged the hare to a race. The hare accepted the absurd challenge. After very quickly leaving the tortoise behind in the race, the hare figured, why not take a nap? There's plenty of time. When the hare awoke, however, he found that his competitor was at that moment crawling slowly but steadily across the finish line, winning the race. The obvious moral of the story that we all learned as children is slow and steady wins the race. Incidentally, some of us learn it again if we attempt to hike or run any significant distance. But there are a few other layers of the story I realized we could enjoy. First, everybody loves an underdog. The story of a perfect finished product, the best always being the best, is just not that interesting. Instead, we are drawn to the story of someone or some tortoise that surprises us with their hard work, fortitude, and patience. Even if they don't actually win in the end, we tend to root for the underdog. And that's beautiful. If you're naturally the best, fastest, smartest, if it all does come easily, well, that's great. It's just not as exciting, and maybe not even as beautiful. Second, slowness opens up all sorts of opportunity. Each step of the tortoise is a moment. And each moment is an opportunity for something good to emerge. Also, I've been trying to exercise gratitude a little more regularly in my life. I imagine that the slowness of the tortoise, the slow, hard work of any of our efforts, affords more opportunity for gratitude. Of course, that requires remembering to exercise gratitude in that longer time frame. But I like to imagine that the tortoise felt gratitude along his journey for his 4 able legs, grateful for his sense of security and protection that his shell provided. Perhaps he was grateful for the other animals that he knew would certainly be rooting for him to win the race. Slowness, even when it is hard work, provides some time for good stuff to happen along the way. And how good must it have felt for the tortoise to win the race? In a lot of ways, emotional fulfillment or reward is proportional to the amount of effort involved in the task. The tortoise earned something. We earn a sense of satisfaction when we work at something with persistence. To be fair, the reward may not always be material or even recognized by others, but if we're seeking self-respect and internal rewards, a sustained high effort is the way to go. And finally, perhaps reading more into this fable than is fair, I can't help but point out, it seems that the tortoise method of racing or living is much healthier. The life expectancy of a hare is 3 to 4 years. That of a tortoise is 50 to 100 years. There's a lot to be said for embracing the process and taking our time. Now, this short sermon may seem very simple. Indeed, it is. Good things take effort, and sometimes beauty is defined not by perfection, but by the journey forward. It's a simple message, but hopefully it can be a bit of grounding for the week ahead. So much around us suggests that beauty comes neatly tied up in a bow in a finished product. Advertising and social media are genius at tapping into our very human desire for instant gratification. But this journey of becoming is a long one. Beauty can be both about the journey and the destination. Amen.